Hello everybody out there, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. And it could be, it might be, it is. We are back on time. As a matter of fact, we're shooting this before the indie review, but you'll be seeing this video after the indie review. We are in our spot that we've rarely used. We're trying to use it a little bit, so between 200 and 300 at least. This got a couple of cameo appearances. Anyway, we're on time. It took 2 days, but we did it. We read all our indie and big 2 books. So this should be going up Monday night. The indie review should be up Monday morning. And all the individual reviews for myself and Mike should be up by today also. So we're very happy that we're on time. Why? Because this is episode 296. Only 4 more episodes. 4 more weeks. That's 1 month until 300. The very beginning of August, August 1st and 2nd, is when 300 will come down. And by the way, nothing to say about that. At least it's not the Fantastic Four again. Different table.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got a nice amount of books this week. A lot of Marvel and a lot of DC and very few disappointments, which is always a good thing. When you have a lot of really great books and a lot of enjoyment in your reading, really gets you excited for the following week worth of books. So the books in this review were released on
July 1st, 2015, the first week of July.
And hopefully everybody had a wonderful 4th of July weekend.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Now, this is a guilty pleasure. I feel weird reviewing it at this point because it's Bizzaro #2. It's Bizzaro. These books, when it comes to Bizzaro, it's as the title says. It's a very Bizzaro book. The artwork is the same inside as the cover. Batman guest stars, Flash guest stars. It's a road trip with Jimmy and Bizzaro. We get a kind of conclusion with the guy from the last issue with the salesman. We got Batman, like I said, guest starring. Then we go to Central City, and we have the Flash guest starring. And then it's more road trip stuff. And I forget who this girl was. They meet up with Chastity Hex, which apparently is like the great-granddaughter of Jonah Hex.
Oh.
So next one is Bizzaro versus Papagano.
Yeah. And Superman didn't appear in this issue, I'm surprised.
No, he did not. Again, if you're a fan of Bizzaro or Superman, this is the book you'll be enjoying. If you're not, then this is definitely a book you don't need. Again, it's a $2.99 book. If you read Superman and you're a fan of his Rogue Gallery, or if you're a fan of Bizzaro, you'll be enjoying this book. If you're not, you won't. On the bottom of the pile, but not dropping just yet, is Batman Beyond issue 2. To be honest, this issue really, again, I feel like issue 1, where Barbara, Tim, and this girl Max, they're in a processing plant, where they're processing people into a collective, so to speak. I forget what it's called. The Lodge. I don't even need it. I remember the Lodge. And basically what the Lodge is Brother Eye can hack into anything except the human mind. So now he's using and harvesting people to try to find a way into human mind. Max gets captured. Barbara and Tim escape. Tim does find a way to power his suit up minorly, I will say that. Max gets kind of sucked into, or she gets converted, and she tells them about, Tim being there, and Brother Eye's like, after so long, he's back. We get a really nice fight between Tim and Ink, and when I say Tim, I mean Batman Tim. He actually does power his, where is it? I missed it, I think. He does get his suit powered up again. I believe it's, here. So he does get his suit powered up again. The artwork's pretty nice, but again, I don't know. And then at the end of the issue, Tim and Barbara look like they're in a bit of a predicament with Brother Eye. To be continued. The only reason I'm coming back one more, and I'm really stressing one more issue, and then that's going to decide it or not, is because the ending has me kind of interested in seeing what they're going to do with Tim and Brother Eye. If it's something I'm really not following, or if I feel the exact same way I felt with this issue, 90% says I'm going to probably drop it. This issue, while keeping me at the same, it kept me at the same indecisiveness where When I think Batman Beyond, I think Terry McGinnis. Let's be honest here. This is a follow-up to the third worst out of 3 weekly series, Future's End. So it really has a lot of bad baggage behind it, and the fact that it's, not, like I said, Terry McGinnis, and it's like basically just continuing Future's End just on a monthly scale instead of a weekly scale. Only it's focused only on Tim. I don't know. I'll see. One more issue will decide. And if I'm feeling the same way I am now, even with curiosity, I'm just going to let the curiosity die.
Alright, He-Man the Eternity War, issue number 7. And just to sum this whole up, this is the origin of Skeletor. And in Skeletor's story, he talks about how he used Adora, or actually used her more or less for power and stuff like that. And basically, he used Adora to Hordak. This was like a long time ago. So, we get also Shao Weaver, who makes an appearance, who was the person who has taught, Skeletor how to be evil and whatnot, like basically taught him about powers and stuff like that. So, and Skeletor's like saying, we're going to make this future together. He goes to Lord Hordak, where he sets Skeletor on the mission to get Adora by using the staff. And this staff could help him get back through time in order to get She-Ra. And the artwork's like really amazing, and it shows how Skeletor's future is going to be, where he ruled over Hordak. But for Hordak to change the future, he wants to kill Skeletor, and then as Skeletor goes through time, now with the staff, he wants to show Hordak who he's really dealing with, and also regretting him never to give him the key, which is the staff. So, I like the origin stories that they gave, like, with Adora, He-Man, now Skeletor.
I hate time travel. Whenever time travel is involved, that's
No, but this is like in a good way time traveling. This is for like some with Hordak and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he can go even further back and change the past.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I like the origin stories they give because it gives us more detail of the character.
Alright, Green Lantern issue 42, the Medusa Effect. So, Green Lantern Oa has disappeared, and so have the Green Lanterns. Trapper, who's the guy that told Hal that, not Oa, Mogo and the Green Lantern Corps are not in Sector Zero anymore, he's yucking it up, he's loving it. I forgot what the prince's name was. I'm going to call him the prince until I find a name. Anyway, they bring the prince back to his planet. However, something's wrong. And it turns out the entire planet has been turned to stone somehow. The Medusa Effect. And Trapper's crew shows up to get him back. And after a very brief confrontation between Hal and them, and it turns out we find out that Hal doesn't exactly have a lot of control over the gauntlet. At times he's actually fighting the gauntlet. And he's like, and he's actually telling himself, I'm in control. I can handle it. So he's having trouble controlling the gauntlet, which I think is going to be really interesting later on to learn about. It's not like him wielding his Green Lantern ring. But what happens is a piece of the planet hits one of the ships, and again, the Medusa Effect happens, and they all get turned to stone. And then Trapper, he releases Trapper and tells him what happened, and says, well, since there's no planet and you've lost your crew, it's up to... justice needs to be carried out by the prince. And I'm guessing what he chooses is for Trapper to be his servant until he feels like Trapper redeemed himself enough. And then we get a bit of an epilogue with Black Hand, and it turns out that Black Hand actually might be behind what's going on with some of the planets. And the last time we saw Black Hand, remember, he was near the Source Wall. And if you touch the Source Wall, you become part of the Source Wall if you see his hands. I'm not going to spoil it, but he's trying to make people rise, like, Black Lanterns, and he can't do it. And I have a feeling the reason why is because of what's going on with him. And I'm, again, not going to spoil it, but this book picked up. I was worried about this book. The last issue kind of left me, I I think with this issue, we're moving forward. It's still at a it's not at a very, very slow pace. It's at a slower than normal pace. But at the same time, it was a really good issue. And we'll see where we go from here. And I'm sure at some point we're going to have a confrontation between Blackhand and Hal. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes.
Alright, Green Arrow issue number 42. We get very interesting stuff in this issue, actually.
Interesting, you say?
Like, really interesting.
Really interesting, you say?
Well, of course we've read in the last issue how all these crimes are happening, and Oliver is trying to find out who's behind this. So, the people at the Seattle Police introduced a new robot called the Panopticon. And what the Panopticon is basically the robot only punishes the bad people from doing stuff instead of the good people, because it's trying to be more...
Why do I feel like something bad?
With the Green Arrow, I said the same thing. So, you know, we get a little bit more insight about what it does and how it puts justice violently to the bad people. And Oliver hears about this, and he wants to find out what this Podicon is. So, and he also is like saying, you know, this is dangerous, you know, and there's so many disadvantages. And then they're saying, you know, this is what happens when you don't own your company anymore. We just do things our way because he's been away for so long that he's been not responsible and stuff. So as Green Arrow, he goes to where this robot is, and guess what? He actually fights off against the person behind this, and I'm trying to remember what his name is. Aaron Zim, who's actually behind all this Panopticon, and who's trying to take over Queen Industries and stuff like that. And these drones, they really outnumber him, and well, that's where it leaves us off. It just takes him in, and what will happen next, we don't know until the next issue. So this was really interesting that they actually brought, and it's more than one. It's not just that one. It is more countless. There's several of these Panopticons, so now robots are sweeping things but in a violent way.
Action Comics, issue number 42. Clark is fighting the Shadow Beast from the end of the last issue, while the police are closing in on Kentville. Basically, what we find out in this issue are the police are trying to push Superman into fighting back against them. That's what we learn in this issue. That's what the sergeant wants him to do. So after Superman fights the Shadow Beast, he runs back to Kentville before the police officers attack, and the people are actually trying... Here's some artwork, by the way, really nice artwork. The people are trying to keep it peaceful and not give the police a reason to fight against them. And unfortunately, Superman shows up with a gigantic chain and basically stands in front of all of them and says, "You have to pass me first." And they try to beat the hell out of him. It doesn't work. And then finally, the idiot, major or sergeant or whatever he is, where was it? No, I think he's a sergeant, shoots one of the tear gases into the crowd, and one of the civilians, I don't want to say who, gets hurt. And finally, at the very end of the issue, spoiler alert, Superman or Clark snaps. And it says, next issue, the fall of Clark Kent. So they pushed Clark to the point where he finally did give in and actually attacked a police officer. So now Superman's in even more trouble. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where this goes. Again, this is definitely a very new take on Superman. Compared to what we've been reading for many, many years. Again, when it comes to Superman, I'm enjoying the story arc. And I guess, again, it's because of what was opened up during Convergence that I know my Superman, the real one, is somewhere out there. And right now we're just getting this. What I was hoping from DC, and as much as they say Convergence opened up the multiverse, we aren't going to see any of the multiverse at least until October at this point. Because we have solicits from now all the way through to September. And no offense to DC Comics, but we're still in the New 52 or the New DCU. There's just a few miniseries here far and in between that take place in different time periods. And Justice League of America is the same thing, the New DCU, just in a different time period. So I don't know, and Justice League is probably a pre-story to what's going on now. So I don't know where DC is at. They're just in the new DCU, and they're just at different time periods again. So if they're going to open up the multiverse, the biggest thing I could say is legitimately give us books once a month from different points or different parts of the multiverse. Give us a Superman from pre-New 52. Give us a Batman from somewhere else. Give us something, because you guys, as much as Convergence was supposed to matter, it isn't. Marvel, right after Secret Wars, a bunch of new series are spiraling out of Secret Wars. Now, I hate to compare the two companies, but again, DC did Convergence, and that was it. The multiverse is open, and we're still with the new DCU mainstreaming 90% of their books, while there's a plethora of events and time periods that can be written in other ongoing series or miniseries or volumes, however you want to call them. So I feel like DC opened up the doors, but they're not reaching their full potential or accessing the full potential that Convergence gave them. Will they in October? There's a lot of buzz around saying that there's something big coming in October or November. Obviously, DC wants to launch something or do something at the same time that Marvel's bringing out their #1, so there's a bit of a competition. So we'll see what happens. Solicits have only been out for September so far. We'll see what happens in October and November. I'm keeping my hopes high for now. We're in Marvel now, and this is the final issue of Princess Leia, issue 5 of 5. Leia, who didn't see this coming, beginning of the issue, it was a double cross. They got the sisters, the older sister working for the Empire back, and then it turns out that there was another ship hidden on the planet, and Leia double-crossed the general and was able to escape. Now, the Star Destroyer is chasing after them, and it turns out there's a huge fleet of Alderanians? Am I saying this right? I hope so. Anyway, and they're all in front of Esperion, wherever it is. So Leia finds out that they're all there, and now she knows that the Star Cruiser is coming, and as happy as she is that all of those fleets are, the Alderanians want to stay together, she's like, prepare for battle because we have a problem, and then she makes this really awesome speech. I don't want to spoil it. But the army or the people on the planet Esperion don't want to join or help Leia or the rebellion in any way. They want to stay indifferent to this fight between the Empire and the rebellion until they hear Leia's speech, and then they jump in, and one Star Destroyer is destroyed. Leia wins. Her people are united. However, she's needed for the rebellion, so Evan, she dubs Evan the leader of the Alderanians, and she leaves to return to the rebellion, and Evan leads the entire fleet of Alderanians to their new tomorrow, basically, so because the Empire is hunting them down. This was a really good series. I love Terry Dotson's artwork. Mark Waid really brought it together with this last issue. It was a really nice miniseries. Now, I know there's a new miniseries that started this week. It was Lando, issue #1. Right now, with everything that's going on with Marvel and with everything that's going on with all the other books that we're getting, I decided to not get that miniseries because A, we're not really huge fans of Lando, and it's really more of an origin of Lando, and B, when the next miniseries comes out, or the next ongoing series, which is going to connect into the next, from Star Wars Episode 6 all the way to Episode 7, we definitely want to get that so we're in the loop of what happened in between the two episodes, because apparently a lot of time has passed between Episode 6 and 7. So next book is yours. We're going back and forth now. Mike and I have an even amount of books again.
Yep, X-Tinction Agenda, issue #2.
How was it? Did this hold?
I was going to get to that.
Okay.
There are lots of twists and turns that happens in this issue of this book. Like, it focuses more on Jean Grey of, like, trying to put things together, while there's lots of this virus epidemic that's going on around and everything. And we get Nightcrawler, who actually tries to help out Dr. Reyes, and Dr. Reyes is who's he bringing? Kitty Pryde actually made a appearance in this, where she came out of this portal out of nowhere, and she got hurt badly, and then she said, I need Traj, I think, to bring in right away. And here's some artwork, by the way, which is actually pretty good artwork. And we got these, whatchamacallit, there's just lots of chaotic stuff that's just happening. I'm trying to, like, see how this is, because they're trying to keep everything together. And Dr. Reyes actually turned out to be Mystique in disguise to knock out both Traj and Nightcrawler, because you know, they needed her back, you know, where it is, because the plan was Mystique to knock them out, but they actually needed her on the field where she was at most. And then there's just lots of dialogue to take in. I mean, if you want to find out what the rest is, definitely read the book. But there are a lot of things where Mr. Hodge's assistance is to eradicate the plague that are called mutants, which is why it's called X-Tinction, because he wants the mutants to be extinct. And then you just get a long dialogue between Jean Grey and the Beast, who are just talking about if any should get abducted, then we're just going to go to war and set this right. So basically, throughout all this chaos that happens with the mutants that the Doctor's trying to extinct, they want to go to war just to finish this. So it's a little alright. If the next issue doesn't hold me, then I'll drop it.
This book improved for me. Future Imperfect, issue number 2. We get a little backstory in the beginning of this book. The Thing is not who we think it is. The Thing is actually Major Ross. What do you call it? Not Major. What's his first name? Thunderbolt Ross is basically the Thing.
Yeah.
Talbot himself and a few other... him and Talbot were piloting this ship. They went through this the cosmic rays. They crashed. Talbot died, but Ross became the Thing. And
first the Hulk, now the Thing?
This is a different universe. So he is the one that's plotting against the Maestro in the Resistance. Most of this book is just Ross versus the Maestro, taking them out one by one. You know, it was a humongous fight that was awesome. There were some nice twists and turns. Unfortunately, the Maestro just bettered Ross, or the Thing, and was able to knock him out long enough to imprison him for a special mission he has, or something that he's planning. The rest of them get away thanks to Layla Miller. And the last page, like I said, has Maestro making the Thing, aka Ross, an offer. And it involves Doom. That's where this book picked up for me right there. I liked the fight. The artwork was great. I'm glad they gave us a bit of a backstory, or else I would have been thinking this was Ben Grimm, the Thing, up until they finally came out and said that that's actually Thunderbolt Ross. So this was just a really great book. If you're a fan of the Maestro, which I'm not, that's why I'm not getting the contest book that's coming out after...
Contest of Champions.
Yeah, that's coming out after Secret Wars. But this book is definitely holding me, and now thanks to the last page, I'm even more held because I want to see what this plan exactly entails. Now, this one's taking us out of Secret Wars.
Yes, Darth Vader, issue number 7. So, in this issue, we find out from last issue that Darth Vader found out stuff about young Skywalker. That didn't really set him off right. So, what he's doing is that he wants to go to this different planet, like first of all, he talks about Luke, like saying, you know, this boy, he's strong and everything, but you know, hiding is you know, not what I want to do. So he wants to try and look for him, but he said for now he must return to his duties because he has a task that he has to take care of, which takes place at Sun Toll, which is right here. And by the way, the artwork's really nice, I would say that much. And when he goes there, he actually, with his army, takes out all the Imperials. I'm thinking that's what they're called. And basically he finds a lot of stuff that he actually needs for his engine stuff. We got a little bit of Jabba the Hutt and Darth Vader who have this talk with each other, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then we get these 3 characters, I'm trying to remember the names, Basic, IG-90, and the little miniature of someone, I can't remember his name. I think it's the Wookiee, I think, in disguise, because that's what it looks like. And yeah, they're seeing a lot of, we get Chewie, who actually, or who looks like Chewie.
No, it's somebody from, no.
Oh, no, it's the action figure that's back here, the Wampa. I'm so sorry. The Wampa.
That's a Wampa?
Yeah.
No, that's part of the Chewbacca. No, that's part of their, it's the same race, not Chewie.
Oh. I thought because it said back here, you know. Alright, well, apparently I was wrong. And there's this woman right here that knows a little bit extra that other people don't know. And let's just say that she wants to say, if you want to see what we can do about what's going on, who wants to be rich so I can help you. So that's a little bit more of a hands full with Darth Vader.
Alright, backstory before doing A-Force number, it's A-Force, yes, number 2. A-Force number 1, I ended up getting it 3 weeks after it came out. I got the signed copy by Marguerite Bennett. And I figured I have the book, let me look through it. I liked it, I really liked it a lot. Miss America ended up doing something. She took a shark that showed up, and there was a Sharknado reference, and she threw it over the wall into another sector. Luckily, it was in the dead zone sector, but still, nonetheless, she breached the wall, and that was against the rule of doom, and she ended up getting taken away. This issue takes up where the other issue left off. Nico actually finds this mystery girl. I thought it was Kitty Pryde. We all thought it was Kitty Pryde, and maybe it's not. I don't know. And she brought her back to her apartment to, I don't know, just to hide her out, so to speak, because she's afraid that if the A-Force finds out that they'll report it to Doom. A-Force is somewhere else under the sea where there's this portal that appeared out of nowhere, and it shows little glimpses of all of Battleworld. And obviously this portal will teleport to different places on Battleworld, and we don't know who is creating these portals yet. So when, I believe this is Loki, I want to make sure it's just Loki. Yeah, they just call it Loki. And at that, give us just 2 seconds and we will come back with A-Force. Okay, and we're back, and Loki discovers Nico's friend and says it's not up to us to hide it. We must take the girl to A-Force and have them determine her true nature and determine what to do with her. Nico introduces them. She's afraid that She-Hulk is going to send her away. Medusa tries to do something to her, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a portal appears and a Sentinel shows up. A-Force, assemble. The A-Force team takes out the Sentinel. We find out a little bit about this girl's powers. She's able to teleport, or, yeah, basically it's teleport away, and she has some type of a cosmic power. I guess as the series moves forward, we'll find out more. They make quick work of the Sentinel, long story short. Another portal appears out of nowhere, and She-Hulk says, well, first She-Hulk doesn't believe that it's the girl that's doing it. She thinks it's somebody else because the girl was not around when the first portal showed up in the first issue, and she couldn't be doing the portal again now. But she says no time like the present to find out where these are coming from. So she jumps into the portal, and me has a feeling she ended up in the dead zone, or through this portal at least. I don't know, it could be any apocalyptic world at this point, but She-Hulk is definitely trapped somewhere dark. And it's to be continued. I like this issue, I like the development of the characters, and I really like this mysterious person from the stars. I thought it was Kitty Pryde. I could have sworn to you it was Kitty Pryde, because we all know Kitty Pryde has that galactic power connected to her. now. Maybe it is, or it's a younger version, or it's a rewrite. We don't know, but all I do know is A-Force is an excellent book. I'm really enjoying it. Looking forward to the rest of A-Force's Secret Wars run, and then going right back with A-Force. I don't believe this, but in about 3 or 4 months, we're going to be doing A-Force #1 again, where it's going to be in the 616 Marvel. I'm really enjoying A-Force. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. The artwork as well is very, very good.
Alright. This book, I was really thinking I wasn't going to like this.
I thought, that's why I gave it to you.
But I actually thought it was pretty good. Red Skull issue #1. Battle World. Because the reason why is because I'm not really into villain books as much.
Right.
But I just thought, you know, okay, I guess take a look wouldn't hurt. And I went in this book really positive, just thinking, you know. So I'm looking and it looks pretty good so far. It's basically Electro, who is getting taken by this guy, and we find out he's Crossbones actually. And we have a crew here he's with, which are Magneto, Moonstone, Jacqueline, Leia, Deathstroke, and the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier is not a villain. He's actually the one that volunteered in this mission. Their mission is to find the Red Skull and take it to Doom, who really wants the head of the Red Skull. For many obvious reasons, you'll have to read the book. So Electro is just saying, you know, that he wants to, like he wasn't too keen about, and those who escape Crossbones, they have the collar around their neck, and they'll get shot. So they can't quit this mission either. So Crossbones says the mission is basically just to find the Red Skull's body, and that's basically it for that. So, and Bucky's going to be the one that will, whatchamacallit, take them through the mission. Basically be like their leader and stuff like that. So, you know, and then as the book continues, they run into some trouble, the team, which are, I want to just get their names right.
Looks like Electro got bit.
Yeah, but they're like these...
They're in the Deadlands, apparently.
Yeah, basically they're in the Deadlands, and there's actually a Red Skull who actually does come in, but who he sees is Magneto. And he says to Magneto, you know, there's power in the world believing you have died. In other words, come with me if you want to die. So what I'm thinking...
If you don't want to die, you mean?
Actually, if you do want to die.
Yeah, and there's power in dying, meaning so...
Yeah. So the reason why I'm keeping this book is because #1, it's with Magneto. And #2, it was a little bit interesting, but if they're going to drag it where he's going to try and capture all the team of Red Skull and then it becomes a whole big thing, then that's where I'll drop it, because then it'll be predictable what he's doing. So,
Years of Future Past issue #2. We get a little bit of a side-by-side between Kitty Pryde's daughter and Wolverine's son, and how they were brought up. One brought up in the military camp, the other one on the streets. How Kitty Pryde's daughter was safe but never free, and Logan's son was free but never safe. And then it goes back to present, where they're fighting the Sentinels, and they actually go deep underground, and they end up going towards the, or what was that sanctuary called? The Centrium, or Centrum, where all mutants that are, you know, not captured by the government reside and stay safe. We find out what's powering the Sentinels. I'm not going to spoil what is powering the Sentinels, but Rachel finds her, or it, and ends that power source at least. We get to see the Centrum. We get a really nice story from Catherine's, not Catherine,
Colossus?
No, I forgot Kitty's daughter's name. Is it in the front? There has to be a guy that, yes, there is. There's Kate Bryant. Christina. Christina's father, which is Colossus, and he talks, he has a really, really good, and it's really something that I think it could really relate to stuff in reality as well. Very good, and of course, what happened in the previous issue, Senator Kelly's not dying. The X-Men were planning to save Kelly. It turns out that this was a big ruse, and we all knew this from the first issue, because President Kelly did not want the Freedom Act to be passed for mutants. So we had to show mutant on mutant violence to scare the populace again, and it worked. And then it turns out at the end of the issue, long story short, we get to see the new type of Sentinels at the end of the issue, and it turns out they're Doom Sentinels. And we also get to see the return of somebody else and what they would look like, or what they will look like years in the future. Really interesting stuff. I really like this issue. I love the development between Christina and Logan's son, whose name completely leaves me right now. I like their back and forth, and you can tell that at some point they might end up together. I'm curious towards who Wolverine's son's mother is, because Wolverine says not to talk. He told his son never to talk about his mother again and never to bring the subject up even again. So I'm curious as to who it is, but beside the point, this is an excellent book. If you like Years of Future Past or Days of Future Past, you're going to love Years of Future Past as well. Really awesome stuff, really an enjoyable read. And actually, if you look at the cover, you could tell who the power source was.
Alright, The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 19.1. This is Spiral Part 4.
A 5.
A 5, because the next one will be concluded. And this one, from what we found last issue, Wrath has shot somebody. And who was it? Well, after we get a little bit of a backstory of Yori with her grandfather about the police force and everything, we find out that she actually wasn't the one that killed someone. It was actually Mr. Negative's inner demon that actually did all this. And basically it was Tombstone. But Spider-Man knows, you know, the Rat didn't try to kill Tombstone. She was framed by Martin Lee. Because Wrath and Spider-Man, who didn't see this coming, are now wanted. So we get a little bit of Mr. Negative's side, along with Ringmaster, who is actually going to be teaming up with Mr. Negative on, you know, the crimes and everything. And, you know, there's like another Ringmaster, he's named Manor Tablet, I think that's how you say his name. And they're just saying, you know, that Spider-Man and Rat showed up just to do all this interrupting with the prison. And Yori actually gets a little bit of a talk from her boss, just saying that, you know, Judge Howell is dead now and you've interfered when I told you not to, so you're finished. You'll keep your job, but your career is over. And I feel really bad. And I really like the artwork, though, between, you know, all the story. And then between Spider-Man and Yori, who's talking, they actually, Spider-Man goes back in time when him and Yori were teaming up, him and Rat teamed up together. It was actually at the Javits Center, inside that, actually, where there's a bunch of circus people, mutants, that are doing all this stuff, and they're trying to save them, or to actually bring them to justice. But the Ringmaster actually comes in, and lots of things don't turn out the way they want to. But you know, luckily that Wrath came in. She's just saying, you know, Yori Wanatabi, however you say, is dead. The Wrath lives, and she wants justice, and that's to be continued in the next issue, or concluded in the next issue. So, really great stuff between Wrath and Spider-Man in this issue. And why won't it go in?
Corner might be a little.
There we go. So this was a really great issue. I'm really great amazed. I was gonna not throw a pun there of the issue.
Ultimate End issue number 3. For those of you that wanted to see a major difference between the Ultimate and the 616 universe, you will see it here. Bruce Banner, the 616 Hulk, is being held captive now by Nick Fury, who blames him for what happened at Rikers Island and everything else. And Emma Frost goes into his mind and actually tells Bruce to tell what happened. It turns out Doc Green was trying to figure out a way to separate the two domains again so that they could be two separate entities until Bruce Banner from the Ultimate Universe shows up. And after a few words are passed back and forth, something happens to both of them. And I guess because they were around each other, the two gamma-radiated Hulks just, Doc Green turns back and just to the normal Hulk, and Ultimate Hulk just hulks out as well, and it just becomes a huge fight. You know, Hulk, Bruce from the 616 apologizes, says he can help, The 616 Avengers believe him, but no matter what they say, Nick Fury from the Ultimate Universe won't hear it, refuses to hear it. You know what? The Ultimate Universe learned to hate the Hulk because of all the things the Hulk was involved with or in throughout the entire existence of the Ultimate Universe. So in the end, it's a losing battle where the 616 Avengers leave, very pissed off, and Nick Fury has Hulk, or Bruce Banner from the 616, captive. There's a scene between the two Punishers from the 616, from the 616 and the Ultimate Universe, and it turns out only one makes it. I won't say who. And this Punisher has the Punisher that survives actually only has one means of stopping the villains that have escaped from Rikers Island.
I already know.
And then the ending was the best. I'm not going to spoil too much. I'm just going to say, let's just say somebody frees the 616 Bruce Banner, and this might be the beginning of the war between the Ultimate and the 616 Avengers.
Whoa.
This was a really good book, one of my favorites this week, but unfortunately it's not the last book we're talking about because finally Secret Wars issue number 4 came out. Now you read it and I read it. I will be reviewing this on Comic Frontline, so I'll let you do most of the talking, but I thought this book was really good, and if anything, I'm really pissed off at Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah,
and I think that he deserved what he got at the end of the issue.
Absolutely, because this was just like, you know, really something else. Like, there's just so much to take in.
Yeah, the Thors are fighting Thanos and his people. Doctor Strange is explaining to the survivors of the 616 what's going on, or the survivors of the incursion, what's going on Battleworld and how Battleworld came to
along with
into
how
existence.
Doom became God. Mighty. And we also have Cyclops, who has still the Phoenix Force.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was actually pretty interesting. He actually does some really cool stuff as the Phoenix. And, you know, we get talk that the Thor says to Doctor Doom that there's just chaos in the kingdom.
And that's where Doctor Doom takes an interest and actually goes...
yeah, I'm like saying finally he does something about it.
But Doctor Strange, along with the survivors of the incursion, show up to fight against Thanos, and that's where Doom really takes a heavy interest because there's no Reed Richards, if you notice, on Battleworld. But Reed Richards survived the incursion, and that's when Doom shows up.
And I really like the artwork, too, in this book, by the way. And also Thanos actually comes in, and he actually... like, I thought that there was going to be a fight between those two, but
it turned out the Phoenix and Doom actually fought.
Right.
And now I say, you're right, Mike, there might be a chance that Doom might be stronger than Thanos just because of what they said here.
Thanos stronger than Doom? I thought Thanos was stronger than Doom. You thought Doom was stronger than Thanos.
Because he absorbed all of the, I forgot what power, he absorbed the power of the people who were causing the incursion. I can't remember who they were.
And Cyclops had him right there, but then Doctor Strange
interfered.
Yeah, he interferes and just says no, because we don't want to, you know, let anything happen towards the future. So he lets Doctor Doom live, but then guess what in the end?
And Cyclops dies, spoiler alert.
And Cyclops dies too, but guess what? In the end, Doctor Doom kills him.
Because Doctor Doom told him, you know that they'll never stop until they try to defeat me, and he says maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe
someone should defeat you.
Maybe I agree with them, and that's why Doctor Doom destroyed him.
Yeah, so it's like he saved him, but for what cause of getting killed in the end?
So where did they go? We'll find out, I guess, as Secret Wars continues. This is issue 4 of 6, I believe, right?
4 of 8.
So we're at the halfway point right now. 4 more issues to go. And one thing that Doctor Strange said that really got me was, he told Doctor Doom, what are you going to do when Reed finds out you basically stole his life, his wife, his daughter? Oh, Reed Richards, there will be a reckoning.
He'll
be a reckoning.
He'll get him one, that's for sure.
That's right. Alright guys, so that's it for this review. On time, finally. Hopefully we'll stay that way for the next 4 weeks till we get to 300, and then, as always, there's going to be major announcements, and I'm already working on one thing right now. So until next time, everybody, don't forget to check out Comic Frontline, Frontline Gaming Zone, and Zone4Podcast.com. Together, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. I'm going to be throwing those 3 around from time to time. Links will always be in the description once I work on the descriptions. Now that I'm on time, there probably won't be a description on Monday during the day for these, but Monday night, once everything is uploaded, I might actually go back and start working on those descriptions, because by 300, everything has to be set and ready to go. So I'm making sure that we'll be set and ready to go. As always, feel free to comment below, likes, dislikes, agree, disagree, whatever you'd like. This week, Tuesday, Frontline Live. Friday will be Zone 4. So I don't think there'll be a Dark Avenger Live. And then the week after that, I'm not sure, to be determined. Keep an eye on my Twitter. As always, I'm always tweeting out little things here and there. If not, follow me on Facebook also. I Facebook a lot of things also. So until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys in the next review.
Later, everybody.